joining us today. We're going to be crowning our world champion by the end of this weekend. And you know that both of these players want it, right? We heard from Yuuki Ichikawa. This is the only trophy that he doesn't have. At an 0-1 start so far, so not off to the best start that he would possibly like at this tournament, but still plenty of action to go.
Exactly. Both these players are so accomplished, but World Championship, something that they don't have quite yet. So it's going to be a great match.
Well, here we go. Opening hands. Let's take a look-ski here from Mike Sigrist. Got all his colors sorted out, so that'll make him pretty happy. Got some Destroy Evil in there, as well as the Argivian Cavalier into a Captain's Call. So not too bad, especially with that Phalanx on the top end.
Yeah, can't complain at all. A little bit too many lands for Yuuki's hand, but you know, you have Impulse to be able to find something. Picked up Tolarian Geyser, so solid starts from both players.
Yeah, and I see that Vidalian Mindsinger in hand there as well for Yuuki Ichikawa. So if there is something particularly spicy on Sigrist's side of the battlefield, he could steal that, and, you know, having some extra lands to be able to kick that is going to be very good indeed. But going to fire things off here. Impulse to start. Take a look at the top 4 cards and see what is going to end up in hand. Has an option here between Haunting Figment and the Aggressive Sabotage, as well as a couple of lands. There is the red land there.
Yeah, Aggressive Sabotage is actually pretty strong here, especially when you're on the draw. I almost like it a little bit better with your opponent just having a few, you know, lesser cards. You can really kind of nail their last 2 really problematic spells.
Yeah, for sure. And if you need to, if you know, the cards line up well, just able to dome someone in the head for 3 points of damage.
Take that. Yeah, absolutely.
Phyrexian Rager for Yuuki Ichikawa, going to draw a card, lose a life. Finding more lands to go to hand there, as the turn passes back to Mike Sigrist. Now has an option between the Phalanx or the Captain's Call. Where would you want to be in this situation? Are we doing the go wide strat, or are we just going to get the biggest thing down on the board?
Yeah, that's tough. You see Mike kind of going between those two, because it's nice to just get the most powerful creature on the battlefield right now. But, you know, trying to go wide here seems pretty strong against only a 2-2. I think I would just try to get the 4-4 into play and try to back it up here, but it is close. Now, if we do see the 4-4 come into play and get bounced with Tolarian Geyser, Mike would have that really nice play next turn of just playing both.
Yep, precisely right. We're going to see an enlisted Cavalier swing in here, a 3-2, and this Phyrexian Rager is going to be more than happy to jump in the way there, get those 2 creatures off the board. And here come the Cavalry. So there is the backups. Got 4 1/1s on the battlefield now. And Sigrist is going to be feeling pretty okay right now. You know, there's no real clean answer for a wide board in this format. You know, there's a couple of sweepers, but we haven't really seen any of those in this pod, at least.
Yeah, this pod didn't have a lot of sweepers, definitely none in Yuuki's list. So yeah, you're 100% right. You don't really want to be firing off removal spells, except maybe Tolarian Geyser when you can get 2 for 1 a token, and it's not coming back. That's not the absolute worst, but it's not the most mana efficient, you know, play here.
Yep. And we're instead just going to see Vidalian Mindsinger come down and grab one of the tokens, say, hey, you know what? My side of the battlefield is far nicer. Let me tell you about the benefits we've got here, my friend. So he's going to be hanging out there. So parity at the moment, I'd say, between the 2 board states, as Splatter Goblin is going to come on down. And I really like this card. There's a couple of like indestructible creatures in this set. And if you're able to, you know, sacrifice this guy or something, you know, just to get that minus effect.
Yes.
Oh, it's
really tough to attack into, especially. Yeah. You know, blocking that card, you can really line it up when it's one of the aggressors, but one of the best defensive cards, especially in a black-white deck.
For sure. Destroy Evil, a card that people are playing very highly this weekend in both formats.
Yes.
It doesn't really have a target right now, so this is kind of like the awkward situation where this card is like kind of just drawing dead.
Yeah, and especially against really the Dimir strategy from Yuuki. There's one Tolarian Horror, but other than that, it doesn't have a lot of targets, so that might even be something Mike sides out if he can deal with the 5-5 in other ways, you know?
For sure. We're going to see some Phyrexian Espionage card draw and a discard there on Mike Sigrist. Just has the Destroy Evil in hand, opts to chuck the Forest, and draws a Swamp. So not looking super hot here right now for Sigrist. He does have a board state. He's got the biggest creature on the battlefield. And Yuuki Ichikawa, though, he's got a full grasp.
7 cards right now when you're about to untap on your 6th turn. That's exactly where you want to be with this kind of value deck. When your opponent is kind of running out of gas, I think, especially after this turn, Yuki's going to understand, since Mike's not going to have a follow-up play here, that maybe you have a little bit of removal or something, but no more pressure to be applied from Mike.
No, and at this point, it could be a case of a snowball effect for Yuuki Ichikawa, who we see has several pieces of removal in hand and ways to dig further into the library with that Impulse. So we need top decks here from Mike Sigrist.
Yeah,
Need something
absolutely.
spicy.
Maybe a cruelty of Gix.
Oh,
I
maybe.
think that's what we'd be looking for.
Yeah, maybe cruelty, maybe a second copy, perhaps.
Yeah, no kidding. 3-for-1s in limited Magic end up being pretty strong, especially when you get 2 of them.
Yeah, not
Going
too
all
shabby.
in here.
I like it. I like it. Now, combat tricks are something that we've seen very heavily played in this format. So at this point, Yuuki Ichikawa does have full access to the deck list, so he'll know. He'll know if there's something up. But at this point, it's just a case of Mike Sigrist going, well, I need to kill you before you just snowball your advantage. So here we go.
Yep, 100%. And looking at Mike's list, no real combat tricks of any ways, so Yuuki knows that it's pretty safe to block. But here's another scenario with that Splatter Goblin.
Yep.
Like, the block you'd want to do is a 1-1 to a 2-1, your 2-2 to a 1-1, but then you lose your 2-2. So, you know, it does make it pretty tricky.
Yeah, certainly able to trade up those good little Splatter Goblins. I mean, what use is a goblin if not to throw at their
Exactly.
opponents?
Yeah, goblin fodder right there. So another impulse. Yuuki goes up to 8 cards to start this turn off. That's impressive.
Oh, all the choices. Look at
Oh,
all
look
the
at
options.
This. Look at this. We get to bounce the 4/4 here and then have Mike discard 2 cards. Beautiful sequences here from Yuuki. That's got to feel bad if you're Mike Sigrist.
Oh no, aggressive sabotage. How dare you. And there goes Mike Sigrist gas. So in top deck mode is Siggy. Medallion Mindsinger just hanging out there on the inside of the battlefield and draws a Haunted Mire, and that's got to feel bad.
Yeah, feeling really bad. Yuki's got plenty of gas in the tank. Impulse to be able to basically find anything you really need from Yuki's side. That Tolarian Horror, and even a nice removal spell if Mike were to find something here in the coming turns.
Yeah, and at this point, I would expect to see a trade with the Splatter Goblin. I mean, Yuki's at 12. He's got to be feeling pretty confident right now. You know, he's got just so much available to him. You know, his life total being a 10. That's not really a big deal. And there's Tolarian Terror. That is a big find for Yuuki, able to now most likely close out this game here against Mike Sigrist.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, more goodies. Najal, we got Micromancer, and we got the Eerie Soul Tender. Yeah, let's just keep pressing the advantage.
Yep, looking really strong here. Can just play both impulses. Just get the Tolarian Terror down now. Or, yeah, really, really everything available to Yuuki.
Yeah. It's like, what else would you like? Things looking good here for our Innistrad champion. As we're going to get Splatter Goblin down on the battlefield, as well as the 5/5 Ward Serpent. Now that's it's not over, right? It's not over just yet for Sigrist. Like, there's still there's hope, right?
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
sure, absolutely for this game. But yeah, Tolarian Terror, just one of the best cards, if not like the best common, for sure. You know, it's the card a lot of these players are drafting extremely highly. We were watching this draft and we maybe saw 2 or 3 opened like in total.
Yeah.
So especially with Yuki's style of deck, this Dimir style of kill all your creatures and then have a finisher being one of these Tolarian Terrors, only finding one was very disappointing. That really would have changed his grade from, you know, the C+ or whatever we gave him to really boosting it up to B+, A- kind of thing if you were to assemble 3, maybe 4 of those.
Yeah, we're going to see a double block here from Sigrist potentially, just to try and get this Serpent off the battlefield, because that will certainly take chunks out of his life total like it's nobody's business.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tolarian Terror, a card that was a lot easier to see on the ladder the first couple weeks when we drafted this. They started getting a lot tougher as the format evolved.
All right, double block on the Terror. Splatter Goblin's going to have to do some work here, but we do see that there is some instant speed interaction for Yuuki, so will we see some timely interference here to save the Terror, or are we going to extinguish the light on one of these Goblins?
Yeah, interesting here because this doesn't really change it because you can still deal 3 damage to the Tolarian Terror, put both of the counters on Tolarian Terror, and still pay the ward, so still deals with it unless I'm missing something here.
All right, so Splatter Goblin triggers. We're going to be targeting that. Let's get this off the battlefield. Has the 4 available. So unfortunately for Yuuki, won't be able to keep the Serpent around, but it's going to follow up with another 5-power creature in Najal. The Stormrunner. Writhing Necromass, though. Timely arrival, a big 5/5 on the battlefield now.
Not bad, but we do have just an amazing play here. Probably my favorite play with Najal is just being able to clear the way and then just double impulse.
Yep.
So nice, so nice. A solid value player. Doesn't even need to do it. Would rather just progress the battlefield.
Yeah. At this point, Soaring Drake can come on out.
It's hard to resist that kind of value.
Oh, for sure.
That takes a lot of restraint right there.
It does. It does. But I appreciate where you're going with that.
Yeah.
And here we're going to see Citizens Arrest come down, grab one of these threats off the battlefield here for Yuuki Ichikawa. Mike Sigrist in top deck mode, trying his best to just stave off the damage here.
And there was a little bit of a cost there for Yuuki. You know, if you knew Citizen's Arrest was coming off the top, you probably want to get some value off Najal. But never mind, we just
That's
found
all right,
another
we have
one. We
another
can do it.
It's
We
like,
can do it later.
Oh, Sigrist, you have 2 Cruelty? That's nice. Have you met my 2 Najal?
Yes, absolutely. And there we go, game
Oh, yeah.
1.
That's going to be enough for Mike Sigrist in game number 1 here. Yuuki Ichikawa, pretty convincing victory there.
Yeah, it really was. You know, Mike didn't really draw any of the big spells in that middle phase of the game, and Yuuki with that nice sequence of being able to bounce the 4/4 and then have him discard the last 2 cards.
Oh, yeah, that was brutal.
That was really where it slipped away. Mike had to then kind of follow it up with actually drawing stuff. Drew 2 lands in a row, and then it was just, you know, no real chance for him.
Timer started.
So a couple extra changes here to the sideboard. There are a few options for Yuuki Ichikawa against the suite of removal that Sigrist is playing. We do see a couple copies of Negate coming in, just to be able to prevent a Cruelty of Gix hitting the battlefield.
Yeah, at least one of them.
Yeah.
You know, the worst kind of thing is Cruelty of Gix finding another one. Getting that 3-for-1 chained together would be pretty brutal. So if you can disrupt that, that's pretty nice. Going up to 3 negates.
Oh,
that's a large number here. Yuuki really does just recognize, like, the way that Mike is going to win this game is with these really powerful enchantments. The 3 Citizens Arrest, the 2 Cruelty of Gix. If you can stop those, Mike's creatures aren't that great.
Yeah.
You know, you can deal with them as long as you can, you know, beat the go wide strategy of all these 1/1 tokens.
Like with Mike's deck, you know, it is a little tricky because, like you said, the creature quality is not fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, in an ideal situation, he gets Elas down, he gets Aaron down as well. He does the go wide thing, sacrifices something, gets a bunch of tokens on, swings in, kills you.
Yeah.
But that takes a lot of setup.
It really does. Mike's deck would just be so great if he had a bomb creature as a target for one of these Cruelty of Gix. One of the Defilers.
Yeah.
Really, either one would be great, especially the White Defiler would be excellent. But no real bomb creature to find off Cruelty leads this to just a good deck with good removal instead of a great deck.
I mean, on the flip side, though, Cruelty of Gix doesn't really care which graveyard it gets the goodies from, you know?
That's a very good point, yeah.
We could just, you know, blame Mike's opponents for his lack of cool creatures.
Exactly. He was really relying on them having,
Yes. It's
you
like,
know,
I'll just
a
play
Sphinx or something.
your things, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. When in doubt, steal your opponent's stuff. Alrighty, let's go. Game number 2 here. Yuuki Ichikawa is up a game up against Mike Sigrist, who is playing the black-white control deck, and that's an unfortunate opening hand for Siggy.
It is, you know, playing against a blue-black control deck and then playing a black-white control deck, essentially, you really want to be able to, you know, put your foot out first and get a creature down and then start removing your opponent's stuff, because Yuki's deck is going to draw more cards. Eventually, you're going to get outvalued, so you really need to kind of play a tempo game from Mike's side of the battlefield.
Yeah, so you can see he's not happy with this. Unable to cast those Citizen's Arrest. Destroy Evil does nothing at the moment, but he's going to keep it.
Gonna keep it.
All right.
And left in the Destroy Evil, which is pretty interesting. You know, there is not a lot of targets for Mike to actually be able to destroy.
Yeah.
It's not too much evil in Yuki's deck.
No, no, unfortunately for Mike. But we do see an on-time Splatter Goblin, and just to rub some salt in the wound there for Siggy, he finds the green-white creature in Queen Eleanor, and won't be casting that for quite some time.
Yeah, you saw him giggle right there. He's like, oh, of course, that's going to be the card that I need when I need a white source.
Yes, but on the other side of things, Yuuki hasn't found land number 3. Tribute to Urborg. Is just going to get rid of that goblin before it gets too frustrating, and no land again. Ruh-roh.
Yeah, this is definitely each side of, you know, not drawing well here, where we're going to see usually the player that is lacking lands eventually they will be, you know, advantaged when they finally draw that land. But Mike has to pressure. Well, Yuuki doesn't have a land, and there it is. Now, really, all the problems are over because now you got a Ranger. That pretty much solves it all.
I like to call that the Canadian part of the game, where it's just like, you go, no, you go, no, you
no,
go.
I
insist,
please,
yeah.
Yes. Too good.
Oh goodness! But we do have the second planes now. Oh, those gorgeous basics from Infinity. I love those lands. And there's more gas. We got a Phyrexian Warhorse now. This is an excellent sack outlet in this format, and if we can get some little bitty idiots on this battlefield, we'll be very happy if we're Sigrist.
Yeah, that was a pretty strong draw. It doesn't really look like Yuuki has anything to cast here. Looked like Yuuki was really prioritizing making sure that he had a counterspell just in case land 5 plus Cruelty at Gix hit the battlefield. You know, if Yuuki had perfect information like we did, he would have been slamming that Phyrexian Ranger, you know, to just make sure you hit a land drop.
Oh, look, we have a target for Destroy Evil, because there's a big old turtle on the other side of the battlefield there, Corey.
Arresting that turtle here if Mike wants, but yeah, just a plethora of removal here. This is one of the very few Destroy Evil targets as well.
So I'm just curious if we want to go for the arrest option or if we're going to Destroy Evil. Citizen's Arrest says, Mr. Turtle, you've committed crimes, and go to naughty jail. As now the 3/3 is free and clear to attack through. Down to 15 goes Ichikawa.
Yeah, all of a sudden not looking so bad for Mike, just really being able to get a threat. And now when you look at a hand that's full of 3 removal spells, as well as another creature that you can cast if you draw a land.
Nice.
Not so bad. So big draw step for Mike. If he's able to get land 5 and drop the Phylax here, it's great.
The Phalanx down would be awesome here for Mike Sigrist. And a very timeliest draw there for Yuuki Ichikawa. Finds the second island, or finds a land for turn, I should say. Is able to keep up that negate. But at the moment, if you look at Sigrist's hand, this... I don't know if this negate is going to be fired off anytime soon, because Mike is, I'm guessing here, it's going to be incentivized to get this Phalanx down and just start smashing.
Exactly, especially when you look at Yuki's list and you just don't see Essence Scatter. You know, that's the really tough part. When you know, invest 5 mana and you get taken away for 2 mana, you know, that is a really bad exchange in this limited format. That's why Essence Scatter ends up just being one of the best cards. The blue Doomblade, I like to call it. But.
Oh, no. Would be Bloomblade? No, that sounds like a green spell.
There we go. I like it. I like it.
Always admire the draw here for Yuuki, who always seems to have just a clutch of goodies. You know, what problem would you like solved right now? You know.
Definitely has had a lot of cards here. So, you know, we can definitely play that Barricade and hold up negate. That double block to be able to deal with the 4/4 is pretty strong here. That's an option. You can even do Soaring Drake, you know, just having 5 toughness for 4 power. You know, to be able to trade with a backup for a removal spell is pretty strong, but not amazing. Yeah, actually a lot better with Soaring Drake here, because Mike does have 2 removal spells available with Destroy Evil and Citizen's Arrest, but that won't work out too great here in the face of a negate.
The Swamp is the draw here for Mike Sigrist. Citizen's Arrest, Destroy Evil, Extinguish the Light. All removal spells right now. Has that Queen Alanol in hand, but no green mana to speak of just yet.
Yeah, no green mana, and Sigrist does only have 1 untapped green source, so no matter what, the Queen is going to be a little late to the party. If you do find one of the Haunted Mires or something, still is going to take some time, but a powerful card.
It is very powerful indeed. So big things here now for Sigrist.
Yeah.
Doesn't exactly want to be chewing on an Argivian Phalanx with the Phyrexian Warhorse. So just deep in the tank here before we go to combat.
Yeah, and Mike knows that this is open deck list, of course, so knows that Yuuki doesn't have any negates in the main, but recognizes what his deck is all about and recognizes what a good player Yuuki is and sees those 3 negates on the board. So he's definitely considering that and probably at the forefront of his mind right now.
And he's not in a position either where he's able to fire off 2 removal spells in 1 turn, so...
And he would have been if Yuuki played the Barricade, which actually is kind of a better creature to lose instead of the Soaring Drake. So a really heads-up play from Yuuki if he was indeed playing around Destroy Evil there.
Land for turn, let's get that out the way. To combat we go. Mike Sigrist with a Warhorse and a Phalanx. Swinging in here with both.
And you saw Sigrist really hesitating on that turn, not only of what to play, if to play any removal spells pre-combat, but if to play the land. You know, we saw Mike kind of get blown out by having to discard his 2 best spells late in the game, and you know, whenever that happens, you want to make sure that doesn't happen again for your next game.
Oh, for sure. So now we're going to see double block here, Soaring Drake and Rager in front of the Phalanx. Any effects before damage, or is Mike just happy to let this go?
You know, Yuuki is just saying, please, please,
Yeah,
please cast
do
a
it.
spell, anything,
Do it.
instead of just going resolve combat damage, play a big creature post-combat. That's exactly what Yuuki would not want to see.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike knows. He's like, you've got it. I know you do. You have 3 in your sideboard. So.
Yeah.
Combat resolves. Rager remains. Phalanx is off the battlefield. And no follow-up play there. So Yuuki Ichikawa is going to be wondering what is going on in Sigrist's hand. Phyrexian Espionage. Ooh.
Yeah, it really looks like Mike is pretty content just trying to win the game with this 3/3 from here on out, being able to extinguish at end step and then have removal spells during your turn. But 3 mana left open from that barricade is just so brutal, aiming a removal spell at it and then they get to draw a card. It really makes it a little brutal.
Gibbering Barricade now. We'll be able to jump in the way here of the Phyrexian Warhorse. It doesn't have any friends to nibble on right now, so it's not going to get any bigger at the moment. Yuuki is down to 8, so he's going to have to start thinking about his life total. But at the moment, there you go. Let's destroy some stuff.
That's what I was really figuring is, like, what are we saving this Destroy Evil for? Because there is not a ton of targets. One more Tolarian Terror, but that's about it.
Yeah. Another Plains here. For Sigrist, he's going to send the horse in. Yuuki going down to 5. Yes, indeed.
All right. Yeah, not exactly what Mike wanted to draw. Mike just really wanted to draw one of his, you know, vanilla creatures instead of one of the powerful cards like Cruelty of Gix based on Yuki's hand.
Yeah. You know, creatures would be great right now for Sigrist, but alas, nothing doing, as we're going to find another island off the top here for Yuuki Ichikawa. Going towards the second Drake. He has to be able to deal with his Warhorse eventually. You know, can't just keep taking whacks with it, but there is the Tolarian Geyser available to him. We're going to see the Extinguish the Light here.
Yeah, and here's where we're almost, you know, maybe a little bit of posture here. It's going to be a snap negate on that, but it's not going to work out exactly how Mike wants it to. It's like, okay, I can get probably Yuuki down to 2 here by going and killing this Drake.
Ooh, there it is.
That was huge. Now it'll be interesting which one of these spells Mike goes for to be able to clear the way for this 3/3.
Yeah,
I think either way, it's going to get countered, you know?
For sure.
Yeah, starting with Arrest, probably getting countered, and then hope Cruelty of Gix. The value of it can really take over this game because Mike is at 20. You know, there's no danger of Mike dying anytime soon. So I would be pretty shocked if we don't see just all 3 modes from Mike if it does resolve next turn.
Didn't go for it there.
It didn't have the mana quite this turn.
No, he did. He had a land drop in the... Oh, we took off. That's 5.
Yeah, that would have been... yeah, snap going for that if they're tapped out for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So just keeping that land then in case of a discard, and we see it.
Oh no! Right off the top!
Oh.
Mine Rod to be able to deal with the rest of Mike's cards.
Aggressive Sabotage again. Sigrist's goodies are got. Man, hand disruption so powerful. And now you've got to think, Ichikawa is looking poised to win this. There's nothing on this battlefield that Sigrist can
really
get through. Yeah, he can't get through.
What a draw there from Yuuki. That was incredible to get that aggressive Sabotage off the top. And Mike even played around it by keeping a land in hand, was plenty fine discarding the non-Cruelty of Gix cards. And you know Mike is thinking in his head like, oh, of course, I finally draw Cruelty of Gix.
Yeah.
It gets discarded, and then I draw a land. You know, that is the worst case scenario when you're not drawing so hot in a match.
That is such a feels bad, but we're going to see Timely Interference there, as well as the Najal Stormrunner hit the battlefield. The Phyrexian Rager has to block, but oh, excuse me, the Warhorse has to block, but the Rager's not going to be able to take care of it, so no attacks there. There's a Goblin. Right on time, buddy.
Exactly what you want as a splatter goblin. And we saw Yuuki set stops at end step there. That is something we're going to see a lot this weekend from these elite players. It's just to disguise any information.
Yeah.
Just make sure Mike has no clue what's in his hand based on you know, the interface itself. All right, picks up a land here. Tolarian Geyser available if Yuuki wants to even cast it. You know, you don't really want to bounce the Warhorse, but if you can get Najal to be able to copy this, it's going to be a huge play.
Oh, I want to see Najal copy spells, please.
Yes,
I'd like to put in
please.
one order of copyings. Please and thank you, Mr. Ichikawa.
I think the Is It Spells deck is by far my favorite deck to play. And Najal is one of my favorite cards. You know, it's not necessarily, you know, a super uncommon like it kind of looks like on the surface.
It's no Belmore Battle Mage Captain or anything like that. You know, it's none of that, but yeah, it's pretty solid.
But I cannot resist double value when it comes to these Is It Spell decks. It's my absolute favorite. Especially if you're going to kick this, gain 6 life here to really get a nice, comfortable cushion here, because it does copy the kicker.
And bouncing the Rager 2 extra value. Look at him go, man. This is just
the dream. I would say the dream. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, when you draft a deck in limited, you just hope it does stuff like this. You know, just being able to continually fill your hand, remove stuff, and apply pressure, that's just ticking all the boxes.
Absolutely. And I mean, this format can be really aggressive. We've seen these Boros decks with Heroic Charge just absolutely win out of nowhere, you know? But overall, it is definitely a grindy format, so if you can get these value engines like that going, it is very good for you, for sure.
And these colors do that exceptionally well. Like you mentioned, there's aggressive strategies you can play. You know, the Boros deck, the red-white aggro, just swinging in and listing as much as you can, but eventually you run out of gas, and unfortunately that's kind of what it's felt like for Sigrist. You know, he hasn't really been able to get his game plan going at all.
Yeah, really. And you know, this deck did look a lot better on paper, but if your removal spells don't line up in a meaningful way, all of a sudden you're playing a control deck that doesn't have card advantage. And that's just never really what you want from a control deck. You want to be killing stuff, and you want to be drawing cards whenever you're not killing stuff. And Yuuki has done an excellent job of that, paired with some amazing aggressive sabotages. MVP of the match for sure for Yuuki.
Man. Jeez. You know, just to double gotcha.
Yes.
That's just, cherry on top.
Yeah, that was impressive. And just beautifully sequenced from Yuuki. Just a lot of patience to make sure he got max value out of all of his spells.
Yep. And now we're going to see Najal attacking it again. Ability activated. We're going to see 2 more spells. Or a spell and a copy being cast here. Timely interference forcing the Warhorse to block, and no mana available either for Sigrist to sacrifice a creature and pump that Warhorse up.
So forcing the double block here, you know, this isn't going to be Mike's best block of his professional Magic career. At least he can get in one of the other creatures to be able to deal with it. But as it stands right now, Yuuki does not have to kill the Splatter Goblin, can just kill the other 2 meaningful creatures. We'll still lose Najal, but we have another one.
Yeah. It's nice when things come in pairs, huh?
It really is. It tends to work out quite nice. Legendary creatures that come in pairs, maybe not the best, unless they're so powerful you must deal with them. Then, you know, they're going to matter eventually.
Well, one thing I'm worried about, though, for Sigrist, still at a healthy 15, but that life total is going to start chipping away now, courtesy of that Soaring Drake. And I'm not sure what the best bet for him right now to find is to get rid of that. A Citizen's Arrest would be awesome.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you're drawing Citizen's Arrest, great, but Yuuki has 4 cards in hand, is going to play another Najal post-combat. You know, even that, it seems pretty rough right now for Mike. It'll be a tough game to come back and win from
Definitely. And what's even worse is we do see Ichikawa has in hand the Mind Singer. So whatever Sigrist does play,
if it's a big creature,
Ichikawa is going to be more than happy enough to steal that.
Yep, 100%. And it looks like Mike is just making the best blocks possible, can no longer play around anything. He's far too behind in this game, so just says, yeah, whatever. If you got another piece of removal here to keep Najal alive, great.
Yep. Relic of Legends. Oh, Mana Rock. That's not super helpful right now, dear library. It's Mike Sigrist. He's desperate for something meaningful off the top here.
Yep, Relic not going to do a ton here after you've had to discard the Queen earlier. It's like, oh, okay, got that green source right on time.
Yeah.
Right on time.
Haunted Mire the draw here. for Yuuki. We're going to see a swing with the team. He is absolutely just putting foot right now. The beatdown, for sure.
Yep, this was just, kind of a clinic from Yuuki. Just really sequenced his spells great. Mike, every time he needed to draw something big, it was a land. Didn't really have the option of, trying to prevent those lines. Drew the Cruelty of Gix right at the worst time when it was going to get discarded. And yeah, just a really bad sequence of draws from Mike. And we're going to see that double impulse here to see if maybe we have a combat trick as well.
Why not? Let's see what's on top of the library. Sure, let's look at 8 cards. Jeez.
As long as Yuuki doesn't deck at this point. Like, he's drawn a lot of cards. That's like the
he's still
major
got 9.
out from
He's
Mike.
fine. He's fine.
Yeah, 9's a ton in this limited format.
You're good. Extinguish the Light found. There's a negate 2. So anything non-creature that Sigrist does draw is just going to get got here by, a Suite of Removal, a Splatter Goblin.
Yep, anything that's a creature is going to get stolen.
Yep.
Anything that's not a creature is going to get countered.
Yeah.
That was probably the best draw since it did come with a second creature.
Yeah, it comes with a friend.
So you don't lose both of them to this Mind Singer, but still going to be a little bit too much for Mike to come back from.
Yep, Extinguish the Light could be fired off here at end step 2. But, why not just steal it? Just bring it over to the, I don't want to say, dark side.
Dark side, yeah.
There's must be cookies there.
You can double Extinguish the Light here now as well.
Gross. Is that enough? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just a teeny tiny bit short here of lethal. But that is the option, and we're going to go for that. So Extinguish the Light says, hello, Warhorse.
Yeah.
Please go bye-bye.
Can sacrifice that at least so there's no more life to be gained from Yuuki, but Yuuki was down to 5, threatening going down to 2 life at one point, but after he gained all that life back, I don't think he minds too much that Extinguish the Light isn't going to boost him up to 13.
I mean, hand disruption just coming in clutch here.
Yeah.
For Yuuki Ichikawa. Just once Mike's hand, once he was hellbent, it was easy mode.
Exactly. Unless you draw Cruelty of Gix right there, and we have Citizen's Arrest, but far too many things that need to be arrested. The salt in the wounds right there to negate that one.
And we're going to see a swinging with a team just to clear up an excellent 2-0 there for Yuuki Ichikawa. Rough beats for Mike Sigrist. Just couldn't keep his hand, unfortunately for him.
Yep, really couldn't. Just that excellent discard 2 just played